if you have an IRP, did you know that when the time comes, you may not be able to access it? That means if you have an IRP and you're retired at age 65, 66, 70, and you want to access it, there's a very high probability that you may not access it. Are you curious? Let's talk. Hi, my name is Rose Joshua. Welcome to Family and Finance. Today, we're going to talk about insured retirement plans and some of the things that we need to be very careful about. Okay, let's discuss. So today our topic is beware of IRPs. Beware, beware, danger, beware. Now, we're not saying that IRPs are bad. We're saying that there are many, many, many mines and explosives that we need to be careful about. So if you have an IRP, please pay attention. If you have a friend who has an IRP, be sure to forward this video to them, have them subscribe, and let's talk after, okay? So today we're going to talk about the myths and cautions about insured retirement plans. So what is an insured retirement plan? For those of you who have it, you already know, but for those who don't, it's a good thing for you to know that it's a universal life policy. We have talked about universal life policies in this program, but it's a universal life policy packaged with illustrations that show you the possible scenario of using your universal life policy as a collateral for borrowing from a lender. If you recall from our deep dive into universal life policies, one of the options of using your cash value is third-party lending, third-party loans. So this is an IRP example of that third-party loan. So an IRP is an example of third-party borrowing using your CSV, your cash surrender value, as collateral. All right. So the IRPs have spread a lot in Canada, in the immigrant community. So among Africans, Filipinos that I know, Indians, Chinese. So basically in the immigrant community, and there's a few reasons for that. A lot of people don't know how money works in Canada. So it's very easy for them to fall into things that could be scary without knowing. Ignorance is a dangerous thing. So mostly out of not knowing how money works, and mostly out of the fact that we're in a hurry to accumulate money, and so we try to do it quick, and so we make mistakes. We want to eat our cake and have it, which is good, but we want to do that with information and knowing that we're not doing it dangerously to the point where it affects us when it is too late, especially in retirement. So we're going to do a deep dive. And so we're going to look at some of the assumptions, a lot of the misconceptions around IRP. So if you have an IRP today, I say pull out your contract and let's take a deep look at what you have and help you to understand it better. So one of the most common misconceptions, misunderstandings around IRPs is that, oh, you know, this is my policy. When the time comes, when I retire, I will be able to use it as a collateral for retirement money. And when you look at your contract, actually, that is not guaranteed. So we think that collateral lending will be available when you're ready, but the insurance company does not guarantee that. And presently, I'm aware of just a few lenders. Not every lender would do an IRP. So just a few lenders in the current Canadian market do collateral lending with life insurance. So the future is unknown. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Another misunderstanding is thinking that your IRP is your retirement plan. So unfortunately, a lot of people have been made to understand that, or your IRP replaces your RRSP and your TFSA, but that's a lie from the pit of hell. So basically, your IRP is not a replacement for your retirement savings. So your IRP assumes that you have maxed out your TFSA and you have maxed out your RRSP. And so you have extra money to just kind of say, okay, in the event that I need a backup, then I'll use the IRP. But a lot of people think that, oh, IRP is the first plan. That is a dangerous plan, my dear. So unless you've maxed out your RSP or TFSA, you shouldn't look at your IRP as that plan for your retirement. You really need a solid plan. The IRP will be supporting it, but not the main idea. So yes, you may withdraw from your universal life policy. Remember, your IRP is a universal life policy. Just you're kind of thinking that you're going to use it to borrow money in the future. So yes, you may withdraw money from your UL, but you need to understand the lines, the boundary lines, okay? So your IRP is not your retirement plan. Go max out your TFSA, go max out your RRSP, go max out your non-registered funds. Use your IRP as kind of like a backup, not the main idea. So another misunderstanding, oh, I have in this my IRP illustration, the illustration tells me that they're going to pay me $20,000 every year till I die. Okay. Yoo-hoo! Not necessarily so, okay? So getting the annual payment from your IRP is actually not automatic. So the IRP, hello, is a loan. Remember, it is third-party lending, third-party collateral. So it's a loan or line of credit that you arrange, you apply for with a third-party lender outside of an insurance company using your cash surrender value as a collateral. So because it's a loan, you have to qualify for it. Okay, you have to qualify with a lender, and it does have interest rate, so you will be paying interest on top of the loan. So please, it is not automatic. You have to apply for it. If you never apply, no problem, then you're not using it. If you do apply, then just know that you have to qualify. So some of the factors that may affect your qualification. Remember that this is a retirement plan. So at that time, you're in your 60s, 65, 70, and you may have low to zero income, okay? So if you have low to zero income, you may not qualify for the IRP. Number two, if you don't have secondary collateral, a lot of the lenders would ask you, may ask you, excuse me, for secondary collateral. So let's say you downsize and you're now in an apartment or a townhouse with a low value, then you don't have a secondary collateral. Maybe you don't have equity in that property, and so that may impact you. And credit history, of course, because it is lending. And the cash value at the time. So remember that when we run illustrations, they're illustrations based on assumptions of market performance. So when you actually apply for your IRP, they're going to look at the actual cash value at the time. So if the cash value is low based on market performance, then you may not be able to get the loan, okay? So misunderstanding number 4. Some people think, oh, the IRP will continue for life. No. The IRP, so here's the thing, because it's a loan, the lender has vested interest in what is happening with your insurance, okay? So the lender may choose to stop or recall the loan at any time based on several factors. So we're going to look at some of those factors in your contract in a few minutes. So the IRP the loan is periodically reviewed by the lender, and they can suddenly say, you know what, we're calling the loan. And when they call the loan, things can go the other way, okay? Misunderstanding number 5. So I've kind of gone through 4 misunderstandings. The 5th one says IRP payout is a principal amount, okay? So in the IRP illustration, there's an option that says, do you want to capitalize interest? And most people will select that. But so in your illustration, you may decide you want to capitalize interest, but when you stand before the lender may say, no, I'm not capitalizing interest. You do have to pay your interest every year, every month, or we will include, basically they may demand that you pay the interest. So again, the actual terms and conditions will happen when you actually stand before the lender. Okay, so one of the biggest misunderstandings is number 6, which says, okay, so the collateral is my universal life policy. But no. The lender may decide and say, okay, I want additional collateral. So when you're applying for a loan and they think that the cash value in your UL is not sufficient, they might say, okay, where's your house? And then they could demand to use your house or other assets as additional collateral. In that case, if they demand additional collateral and you don't have one, then again, you may not qualify for the loan, for the IRP. All right. Misunderstanding number 7, IRP payout is from the insurance company. No. So the IRP is third party. I've said it 1,000 times. Is not from the insurance company. It's from a third party lender. Okay. So your insurance company has absolutely nothing to do with your IRP. Okay, because again, it's a third party lending. And it's a third party loan from a lender that you do not know. Sometime in the future, you'll find some lender to help you apply. So the insurance company has nothing to do with it. All right. So the insurance company, if you look at my previous video, I believe I talked about it in the Wealthy Baby Plan or some Universal Life video. I talked about the third party lending and also the policy loan, which is from the insurance company, but IRP is third party. Okay. So the bottom line is there's so many misconceptions. People don't know what they actually buy sometimes. So your IRP could be a ticking bomb waiting to explode. Boom, right? And so here's the thing. A lot of people think, okay, this is my retirement plan. And so they move on with their life, but then surprises come when you're old, 65, 70, and it's too late. So if you have an IRP, this is the time to take a second and third and fourth look at it and make sure that you're not sitting on a volcanic eruption waiting to happen. Okay. So we're going to take a look at actual wording from your contract. Okay, so read your contract. A lot of people don't read their contracts. So let's take a look. So we talked about maxing out your RSP. So here's wording that says, most Canadians are aware of the importance of savings. So if you have your RSP, TFSA, non-registered plans, and you still need to set aside more money, then you can use the IRP. So it assumes that you have more money. So then you can use your IRP, okay? So have your universal life policy, have your RRSP, have your TFSA. Don't depend on your UL for retirement. So that's, if you have more money, you can throw money at it up to the annual maximum. The insurance company will tell you what to do. So these are wordings from an actual contract, okay? It says there are several potential risks that you should be discussed with your advisor. Open your contract is somewhere in there, okay? So the insurance company does not guarantee the availability of collateral lending, all right? None of the terms and conditions are guaranteed by the insurance company. Assumptions relating to the loan is assumptions, terms imposed by the lending institution. Okay. Terms and conditions include the interest rate, so there will be interest rate, ability of a client to receive credit, so you have to qualify, The circumstances under which the loan can be called. So that means the lending institution can reassess and call the loan at any time. I'm going to say, read your contract. And lastly, I have says requirements for additional collateral. All right. Loan and line of credit may be called before the time that the illustration says. Okay. Potential consequences of them calling the loan, you have to repay. So here's the thing. If the lending company, this is very, very, very critical, guys. The lending company has a right to surrender your policy if they call the IRP loan and you're unable to pay. They have a right to shut down your policy. So what that means is if you have an IRP and you start taking the IRP and sometimes the lender says, I want you to repay, and you're unable to repay, the policy or a portion of all of the CSV may be surrendered by the lending institution. And when they surrender it and you have taxes to pay, you are responsible for the taxes. Okay? I hope we're listening. Very important. The lending institution may request additional collateral. Okay? If you do not post the additional collateral, maybe your house, the lending institution may surrender your policy. So guys, when you take your policy and submit it as a collateral with a lender, it's like a mortgage. So the lender has primary interest in your policy. So they can decide to shut it down. Okay, so what that means then is that you lose out, you pay taxes, and if you are unable to continue to make payments, the policy could lapse, meaning beneficiaries get nothing. Guys, this is a serious matter. So please pay attention. Okay? Consult your insurance, legal, or tax professional to fully understand, to fully assess the risks of this strategy. This is in your IRP contract. So then who is responsible for all the negative impacts of this thing? You are. If anything goes wrong, it's your problem. All right? So here's the recommendation is you need to unbundle. Excuse me. You need to unbundle your universal life policy. Basically, keep your universal life policy. Don't use it as your primary plan for retirement. Okay, so save your RSP. I've said this 1,000 times in this video. Save your RSP, save your TFSA, have your universal life policy, not as a primary plan for retirement, but as an added bonus if you're able to borrow from it. Okay, because if your plan is number one IRP, you may be in for some rude shocks, my friend. You may be in for some very rude shocks, and unfortunately, I'm sad to say, by then it will be too late. So be very careful. So here's the thing. If you currently have an IRP and everything I've said in this video has shocked you, call me. 780-680-1334, Rose Joshua. Let's take a look at what you have and let's see what we can do to help you. We may not need to, you may not need to close your account. We just need to have a plan that will give you more peace and more foot to stand on, ground to stand on when you retire. So we need to take corrective action. And now is the time. So here's the thing. I've met a lot of people who have IRPs, and I've met a lot of them who, even inside the IRP, there is the risk of the IRP terminating before they're 80 years old. And they're like, oh, you know, I've gone too far into this thing. I've paid too much into it. It's too late to back out now. Run. So here's the thing. Even if you got it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, yes, it's possible you've spent thousands of dollars. But then if you keep paying into the future, you risk losing all of that. Plus, you risk losing the whole policy if you fall into the category of people who, number one, may not qualify. Number two, your lender calls and you can't pay and they shut it down. So you want to put your feet on better, solid ground now. It's better to cut your losses and do it right than to say, oh, I've been doing it for too long. I gotta keep going forward. Come on, guys, we need to think about this, okay? So it's teaching time saves 9. So please connect with me and let's take a look at your IRP. All right, thank you so much. If this has been helpful, please share this with your friends. Have them subscribe. Remember to subscribe, share, and please, let's talk. Let's make sure that you have a solid ground to stand on. All right. Thank you so very much. Have a good rest of your day, and God bless you. All right.